Hey guys, Nexus here, back for one last go around with the dedicated martial arts tutorials on this channel. And this one today, I guess, is about a few tricks that I like to use in sparring to, if I'm being honest, I like them because they frustrate the people I spar against. But you'll see in a second here. Alright, well, this has finally given me an occasion to break out this hanging bag that I have. I absolutely love it, and I don't use it nearly as much as I should. I am sorry, hanging bag. But today, it's going to be perfect for me to show these off, because most of them start with the same move, a low roundhouse kick, or what looks like a low roundhouse kick. Now, the first one out of these three is something I'm pretty sure I went over in the regular roundhouse kick tutorial video I did years and years and years ago, but I'll talk about it again here in maybe a little more detail. I say maybe because I'm not going back to check. I don't want to look at myself from 6 years ago, even though nothing much has changed. Let me have this, people. Alright. Basically what this amounts to is a set of two roundhouse kicks. One that's going low, that is designed not to connect, and one that will hit high, that will hopefully connect. So to go over it in a little bit more detail, exactly what you're doing, here's your basic steps. Just like a regular roundhouse kick, depending on how you set up for it, if you want to turn your foot over before anything moves, or if you turn in the middle of it, that would be your step one. Let's just say we do the turn at first. Your chamber is going to come up, just as tight as usual, right? Aiming down there for about somebody's thigh. Here's where the trick comes into play. If you throw your entire chamber out and just miss them, right, and that's what you're using as a fake, it is going to take ages to bring that chamber back to where it needs to be for some kind of suitable follow-up. So what you do instead is you let that chamber out about halfway. Half of that chamber goes, just enough to get the movement to spark a reaction. It comes back as you move shoulders and hips back, and you throw your final kick at the end there. So we'll go through slow, and you'll be able to see how 6 years of not training regularly has affected me. Here, halfway out, back in, and you finish your shot. A few cons here. Yes, the kick that hits is a lot weaker than if you were to just throw a high roundhouse kick. Thing is, that, even if you're really, really fast, takes a while. It takes time to move your foot from the ground to somebody's head. And if you're fighting against someone halfway competent, they can probably see that and either move or put something in its path. So, as a way to knock somebody out, this probably won't do it. As a way to open the door for further strikes, yes. Number two starts out much the same in the way that we're going to be using a low roundhouse kick to fake out the opponent, but instead of going into a high roundhouse kick at the end of it, you go into a side kick instead. The only difference is, instead of throwing half your chamber out and pulling it back, you're going to kind of throw like the weakest roundhouse you've ever thrown in your life. You kind of lazily put the chamber out there and just let it drift in front of somebody. And after you cross your own body, you're going to pull this leg up into a side kick chamber. It's almost there anyway. You've just got to do a little bit more work to get there. And then out into your side kick. So you kind of make this big old swoop and then fire out. That's your move. Hey, hi, hello there. About 2 weeks and one haircut later, I'm editing this video, and I realized that I'm not happy with the footage I got of the third one. So I am now in my garage at 2 in the morning for take 2. So I need to preface this by saying, this third trick is by far the stupidest out of all three of them. And there's really no practical reason to use it, but it's a lot of fun when you get it to work, so I'm going to show you anyway. The basic crux of it is the inverse of the first one we did. You know, that low-high roundhouse, going low, the actual hit being high. This one is you're going to fake a high kick and turn it into a low kick. On the low-high, what we did was actually faked by releasing the chamber a little bit, right? And then going up there. Trying to do that, starting with a high kick, is really, really, really tough. So instead of doing that, what we're going to do is make it all one kick, but the first half of it is our fake. In order to do that, we're going to kind of break one of the rules that at least I have with the roundhouse kick. Normally, when you're throwing a roundhouse, you do all your foot stuff whenever you decide to do it, either first or in the middle of the kick, right? But once you get here, and your momentum is supposed to travel into your knee as opposed to starting with your hips generally lock here, right? They don't continue to move or else your kick's going to go. We're going to break that rule. We are going to have our hips continue to turn throughout this entire kick. And what that's going to allow us to do is to turn our sideways motion into a downward motion. Alright, so forgive me if that wasn't perfect. It's a pretty goofy thing to do to begin with, and that's been about a few years since I've tried it. I'm sure you can see if it's something you want to try out or not, just from that. A few extra tips for you that popped into my head as I was doing that, trying to get myself back into the rhythm. You want to let that kick go a bit sooner than usual, because if you let it go at the normal time, it'll line up with the person's head, and by the time you get down here, you're going to be way past. Secondly, your back leg, the one you're standing on, you're going to want to turn it as far away around as you can. Once this goes, that needs to be completely pointed the other way, or else your hips are not going to make that turn very well. Alright, so, even though less than perfect, still way better than what I got on the first one, so back to the past to end this video. Goodbye! And there you go. One more for old time's sake. Hopefully those will serve you well. And to everybody who has stuck around for the probably closing in on 10 years since I started doing these martial arts videos, thank you. Thank you very much. Hopefully I was able to do something to help make your martial arts journey either easier or more fun or whatever. If I helped at all, I am very glad to have done so. So, like always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.